Howdy folks, welcome to Favorites and Fails, where we tell you what we like and what we don't like about the motorcycles we've been riding. In case you're not familiar, this is a 2017 KTM RC390. It has a 373cc single-cylinder engine that makes 42 horsepower on our dyno. It weighs 371 pounds with a full tank. It costs $5,500. And because it's unusually high for the class, I want to point out the fact that the seat is 32.9 inches off the ground. There's a lot to like about this motorcycle, and one of my favorites is the same thing that most people think is cool, which is the way this thing looks. From the orange frame to the orange wheels to that cast aluminum swing arm, not to mention it has an inverted fork. It is a very striking motorcycle that screams sport bike through and through. From a performance perspective, one of my favorites has gotta be the engine, though as you're gonna learn a little later on, it's also one of my fails. On the positives though, this engine puts out a lot of power, 42 horsepower, really upped the bar for the small bike class. And it's got a ton of character. It's got a lumpy idle, it vibrates, it's got strong torque, it's got all of the personality that you expect from a KTM, but in a very small, approachable package. Another high performance aspect of the RC390, and therefore a favorite of mine, is the brake system. You're looking at a radial mount caliper, 4 pistons, with a huge 320 millimeter disc. It's also got stainless braided lines and an adjustable front brake lever as well as an adjustable clutch. That's a lot of features. It's also got ABS, which you can disable, extremely unusual for the class, and overall, great performance. I will say that the brake does fade a little bit when you start hammering it with aggressive riding, but that's where that adjustable lever comes in. You can just throw the reach out and get yourself some brake feel back. Next up on what could ultimately be a very long list of favorites is this passenger seat. It's clever AF. It looks like a seat cowl, which makes the RC390 look very sporty, but in reality, it's foam. That's pretty clever and not something that we've seen anyone else do. The controls and instrumentation are something that fall on both sides of the F&F fence. In the favorites category, we've got the aforementioned levers, which are fully adjustable, and then you've got these backlit switches, which are genius. That's not even something you see on high-end touring bikes. On the other hand, the dash is something I'm going to classify as a fail. While it does have all the features you might be looking for, like a shift light and a gear position indicator and average fuel consumption, it's all very difficult to read on this tiny little LCD screen. Plus, this thing is super dramatic. Whether the fuel level is low or the side stand down, it's always yelling at you with errors and exclamation marks. Speaking of the gas tank and side stand, those are two items that end up on my fail list. Take a look at this guy and where it's located, directly under the foot peg, which has to be folded up before you can put your foot on this tiny little tab and swing that sucker down. Seems like a small complaint, but as a daily rider, it's really frustrating. Also, the gas tank is 2.6 gallons. That's not a lot of fuel, people. That means the low fuel light is coming on after 100 miles of semi-aggressive riding, so you're gonna be looking for gas stations a lot. The biggest fail for the RC390 has gotta be reliability. I did race my bike, which may have contributed to some of the failures, but I'm not the only one that has experienced blown head gaskets and valve clearances that wander out of spec very quickly and are a total pain in the ass to adjust. I should point out that KTM says they fixed these problems for the 2017 and 2018 model, but still, if you're in the market for one of these bikes, it's something you should be aware of. I'm gonna wrap this review up with my final favorite, which is what the RC390 has done for the small bike class. It has totally raised the bar. The fact that a company like KTM that only builds badass bikes decided to dip its toe into the small bike category, it's helped make these things popular and improve their reputation. Rather than just being small, dorky beginner bikes, they've built a motorcycle that is a legitimate sport bike, it just happens to be small. That wraps up this favorites and fails on the RC390. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Same goes if you've got a bike that you want to see us cover. We hope you'll subscribe, and until next time, ride safe.